So, welcome to our Team for Fitness training webinar today. I am excited for you guys. You guys are in for a treat because we have a phenomenal coach getting on today to share with you guys some great tips on organization and even like the push periods and when to come back and forth. The coach is Jillian Bolanz, and Jillian is one of those people that everybody loves. Like, she just has such great energy. You can't help but just fall in love with this girl when you're around her because she just like makes everybody feel like you're my best friend and I just adore you. I love you. She's got the most contagious laugh ever. Just a super fun person, and it's no surprise to me why she has done so well in this business. So, and I actually don't know the story of exactly how she learned about Beachbody. So maybe she'll be able to take a moment at the beginning here and share that with us. But she is sponsored by Missy Reber. Jillian is an elite coach, 5-star diamond coach, and she lives out in Maine. And so we're so excited to have her on this call. She is pregnant, and so it's kind of exciting to see how she has continued to grow this business during the different phases of her life, and just continue to lead in a phenomenal team. So I have so much respect for this coach, and I'm really excited to have her on this call. So Jillian, I'm going to stop broadcasting. I'm going to turn the time over to you. You can do a little introduction here and take it from there. Okay, can everyone hear me and see me? Ooh, this is fun. Yay, yay, yay. Okay, fabulous. So yeah, I can give you a brief introduction to myself. I know that my team and Missy's team know all about like the amazing, miraculous way that I got started. But for everybody else, let me give you a little sneak peek into what brought Jillian to coaching. And truly, you guys, it was because I needed it in my life. About 5 years ago, I was in a really dark, really yucky place. Nobody knew it besides my poor husband, who watched me torment myself. And I think that a lot of coaches can relate to just having this overwhelming feeling of self-doubt and dealing with negative self-talk and just not liking yourself. I went through that. And then fast forward a couple of years, and we tried to get pregnant with my son, who's now 2.5, and I couldn't. So both of my babies, I'm pregnant now, as Brigida said, are IUI babies. And that was just another period of unsettle and unrest. So fortunately, we did get pregnant. And after I had my baby, Cameron, I got to that point where I was like, oh, I can't wait to lose those last 10 pounds. And my husband looked at me and he said, don't you do it. Don't you go down that negative, crazy path again. And it was in that moment I realized just what I had done, not only to myself, but to my family. And I also realized that things needed to change because no longer was it just all about me anymore. I was breastfeeding my son, and so the way I took care of my body directly impacted that. And I know that I'm a person who takes on energies easily, and I know that I give off energies easily. So I clearly needed to right my mind. So I started following inspirational people on Instagram, and that is quite literally what allowed for God to put me into Missy's life, because she was one of those amazing, crazy fit moms who ran around with 4 kids, and she seemed like she had it going on. So she literally just, I always thank her for being consistent with her business, because she posted about a challenge group / the coach opportunity, and I was all in. So I wasn't necessarily recruited. I just was in a time of my life where I needed it, and so I put myself in a situation to learn and to grow, and it brought me to Missy, and gosh, the rest is history. So yay, that's it. So that's how I got into coaching, and it's just changed my life ever since. So I'm going to hop right into the call today because I wanted to share with you guys exactly what I do. I tend to talk in theory a lot, I've realized, about myself, and I tend to talk in terms of energies and put goodness out there, and goodness will return to you. But I figured it would be easy or helpful for you guys for me to literally tell you what I did when I got started, what I do now, and what I plan to do for the future, and just how I organize everything and how I keep a good mindset on things. So I am just going to continue on. Let's see. Okay, so what is, and please feel free to post comments or questions if you see them, and I'm happy to answer them at the end, or if they come up, I'm happy to answer them at the end. So what is mindful business organization? It's being attentive to where you are in your business always. And that's an everyday thing that you have to reconsider and really assess on a day-to-day basis. I know that you probably have heard the term be here a year from now. But tomorrow, when you're here a year from now, it pushes you out one day further into that following year, right? So you're constantly shooting to be here a year from now, and that year elongates itself. So when you first started to today, that year is going to be further along in the history of time. So I want you guys to always be willing to be attentive to where you are in your business. It's planning and doing actionable daily, weekly, and monthly steps that I'm going to go over for you that need to be taken in order to maintain the current state of your business. So your business is in a certain spot because you have done and will do certain steps. But then the next bullet is being mindful of your goals and reassessing what you need to do to grow your business. Yes, it's important to make sure you show up for how your business is now, but I truly think that having that growth mentality and having those goals set is what's going to push you to the next level always. So it's being aware of what you have to do now and what you have to do to get to where you're going. And just being aware of where you are, where you want to be, knowing what you need to do, and then doing it. So it's an awareness, it's action, it's an awareness, it's knowledge, and then it's action. So I think those are the key things when it comes to being mindful of what your business is and what you need to do. So I don't know how many coaches are brand new coaches on this call, but for me, I tend to think that what we have in the 3 vital behaviors should be reassessed and re-spoken about as often as humanly possible. Because here's the thing with this business. Nobody is above the 3 vital behaviors. And in fact, if you feel like you are above one of the 3 vital behaviors, I don't need to do that one, you're going to slide backwards in your business. They are vital for a reason. They're not the 3 when I feel like it behaviors, because they are what actually will move your business forward. So, be proof the product works, and personal development. For me, these are the part of the 3 vital behaviors that are really, really, really about me. And they're what make me a better person. And I think that in order to really grow this business, you need to start with you. And so it's amazing that we get these opportunities and this career path, and the first 2 things we focus on are ourselves. But I always tell my coaches that this is the time where, yes, it's about you, but in order to grow your business, you need to share it with the world. Be proof the product works. You could have a 6-pack, you could eat 100% clean, you could have the leanest, meanest body. But unless you're sharing what you've done, and unless you're posting and talking to people and letting people see what it is that you have done for yourself with your health and your nutrition, then it's great for you, but it's not good for business. And you have to keep that in mind too. Same for personal development. If you are having these amazing aha moments, then, oh my gosh, so happy for you, so good for your heart and for your mind, but not good for business if you don't share it with the world. So I would definitely say that these 2 key things that are the about me seeds are things that you can then share with other people and help turn it into about them, because you are an inspirational source for them. And I call them seeds because you know that you've probably heard of the terms, but planting seeds. When you are starting to really build your business, and even if you've been in this for 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever years, you need to constantly be planting little seeds about yourself and about what you do, so that the new people that you talk to, or the new people that start following you, see that it's a lifestyle that you're living. And then finally, the invite behavior is where it's about you. It's about the people that I want to serve. And this is where, you truly come to really building upon what you've already given in terms of yourself, and then you turn it into how you can provide a solution for somebody else. So this is reach outs, this is relationship forming, this is providing solutions for people. And when I say invite, I'm talking to free groups, challenge groups, and the coach opportunity. We can invite people to so many different things, but the key is that we take what we have learned with our own personal development and our own body transformation or health transformation or emotional state transformation, and we give it to people and we invite them to join us because we know how amazing it has been for our lives. So let's get into the mindset part of this because it is mindful business organization. For me, from the beginning up until now, I pretty much describe what I do as having not an option mindset. And that means that there are certain things I'm going to do no matter what, because not doing them is not an option. So I gave some examples here, and I really think that this requires a switch that needs to be flipped, because we can hem and haw. I think human nature is to hem and haw about things and to be wishy-washy and, well, maybe, or I can do that tomorrow. No. With this business, if you want it to work and you want it to grow in a way that will provide you with, health freedoms and financial freedoms and whatever it is you're in this for, then you need to make certain things not an option. I have told my coaches that the way I function sometimes is I literally create rules for myself that I do this or I don't do this. I think that's why I like the 21-day fix meal plan so much, because you have it and you just follow it. You just follow it or you don't follow it, but you know what the rules are. So if you create those things that are non-negotiables and that just aren't an option for you, that you will show up to do them, you will, because your business depends on it. So let me give you some examples. Not showing up every day for my business in some capacity is not an option. Not filling challenge groups for myself is not an option. And I actually have a calendar that I created for you guys to show you exactly when I do things throughout the month. Not hitting Success Club, not an option. I will talk to as many people as it takes to hit Success Club. And I'll tell you that I do that first thing in the month, because waiting till the end of the month, oh my gosh, procrastination is like my biggest enemy. It gives me heart palpitations, and that is not a good thing. I'm not a happy person to live with in that case. So not hitting Success Club and not talking to enough people consistently and early enough so that I know that I'll set myself up for that, not an option. Not providing people with this amazing life-changing opportunity is not an option, you guys. Think about it. If Missy hadn't posted on Instagram when I had already started to follow her, I literally was that person that, you're hoping is out there and you're providing meaningful content to, and when the time is right, they'll reach out to you. I was that person, and because she shared this amazing life-changing opportunity, my life has changed. So I think about that, and I want to be that person for whoever is out there, whether they are my best friend, whether it's an acquaintance from high school, or whether it's someone that I found on my like page. I want to provide people with the opportunity, so I will share it with them. Not sharing your journey is not an option, because we are our own brands, and what we go through provides hope for people. And I always tell my coaches too, we are the guinea pigs for people. People love watching other people do it first, and that's our job. So not showing up and not sharing what we're going through, the good and the not so good, but how we turned it good, not an option. Not being aware of changes that needed to be made is not an option. So if you're hitting a sticking point in your business, then you need to really assess and see what's going on, and then do the actionable steps that will get you out of that. And you guys, it comes down to not achieving your goals is not an option. The first bullets kind of start off with, just like the tangible business steps, but honestly, we are in this so we can achieve our goals, and aren't you worth it? Aren't your goals worth it? That's the way I think about it. I know that I'm the type of person that has, that work hard now so I can play hard later mentality. And I think that that's a benefit in this business. But here's the thing. I love what I do. And this can align with some really flipping amazing, huge goals that I'd never given myself the opportunity to even think about dreaming before. So now that I can dream those things because I have seen some of those things come to fruition, achieving other goals and growing as a person is just not an option. So I need to do the first things in order to make those things happen. And why are these not an option? Because I am committed and not just interested. I've heard Jeff Hill say that on a call before, and then I was just fortunate enough to be at the Utah corporate office, and he said it again, and it just hit home to me so very much that you can be committed to this or you can be interested in this. If you're interested, that means you show up when it's convenient or when you feel like it. If you're committed to this, then you show up all the time, because not showing up, again, is not an option. And then this is changing everyone's lives. The people that I serve, my team, my family, and myself. This is literally changing lives, whether it's fitness-wise or whether it's just emotional, like feel-good wise. Have you ever written a post and maybe it didn't get so many likes, but it got a comment or you got a message saying, thank you so much for writing that. I needed that today. That's why I show up, because those conversations and those feelings I've given to somebody matter. And because my dreams are worth everything that I do. Because now I have some really big dreams that I'm dreaming. So it's worth it. It's worth it because those will come true over time. So let me share with you my personal business journey, because I know that we've all heard about different excuses as to why people can't do this, and maybe excuses that you're telling yourself. Everyone's story is different, but I just encourage you to own your story and to know what you have to do no matter where you are in other areas of life. So when I first started, I was a full-time practice manager. I actually ran 2 outpatient practices of a hospital. I had over 30 employees that reported to me, and I was a wife. I was a brand new mom. Cameron was 10 months old. I'm a homeowner, and I'm a human being. So like I got that going on too, where I just, got family and friends and other things that I like to do. I am a person. So this is what I did. I got up early. I worked at lunchtime. We had a shuttle that brought us between campuses. So if I was in between meetings, I was working Beachbody. I wasn't scrolling Facebook. I wasn't, listening to whatever, drama was going on in like reality TV world. No, I was working. I was crafting my next post. I was checking into my challenge group. And I was just doing something to move my business forward. And I went to bed late after my son went to bed. That is what I had to do because I had a goal of getting home. I wanted to be able to leave my job and do this full time because, like I said, this is what I wanted to do. Like, this was life-changing for me. And I knew that I had to be focused in what I did. So I did what I had to do. Then I am in my current state now where I'm a full-time coach. I'm a full-time mama. So I literally right now, I'm home with my son. And my husband helps me a lot, but I don't have an assistant that helps me right now. And I'm at the point that I'm realizing that that's just kind of silly, but it's worked up till now. So that's what I've done. I literally get up early and get some work done. When my son goes down for a nap, I'm working. I do not schedule plans for lunchtime because that is the time that as I'm getting his lunch together, I do mine and bring it downstairs to my computer and bust out work for as long as he naps. And then I will work after he goes to bed again. And I'm fortunate because, I've got my husband doing this alongside me. So that's just a blessing. And whether or not you have that, you make it work. And you just live in the blessing that you have and you prosper where you're planted. And so my next phase, which you have to, because remember, like I said, you have to assess where you are and where you're going, where you want to be. So I'm pregnant again, and we'll be having a baby in May. And I know how crazy life was when I had my son. So I am so laser focused on what I'm doing right now. It is not even funny. And I'm very, very specific with the way that I spend my time because I have a 2-year-old who's very active, and I know I still need to move this business forward. I have a lot of things that I want to achieve, and if I can lay a good foundation for myself now before the baby gets here, it will be helpful. And you can see my bottom post is, it's time to start looking for help and utilizing tools, trusting my team to help me, because here's the thing. We have an amazing team we're a part of, whether you're growing your own or you're part of your upline or whomever. I mean, we're all connected in some way within the Forward Fitness downline, thank goodness, with an incredible team to be a part of. But it's time to look for help and look for resources. And I know that there are a lot of people on this team that do have assistance or do have other ways of going about things. So it's just something for you all to consider down the line when it's businessly appropriate. Does that make sense? It does for me. So that's where I'm going, and that's where I am going to focus next, is putting my head down, continuing to do what I can do, and then getting some help for my next phase of the business, if you will. So this is, I told you that I was going to give you exactly what I do, and this is it. It looks like a lot, but I promise you it's not. I literally broke this down into what is a non-negotiable daily, weekly, and monthly for myself. And for you visual learners, I have a calendar as well for you. So I will tell you, every single day I do the 3 vital behaviors. And I post to social media. Usually, some of my posts have pertained to the 3 vital behaviors, but then I also just share my story. And I let the world know who I am as a brand and what I can do for them, and just know about my life. People like connecting with people. So every day, 3 vital behaviors, post to social media. I check into my challenge groups. I tend to do that 1 time a day, and I tend to do it at night. And Keisha Fitzgerald actually taught me this. She made a really good point that you check in 1 time a day and pick that time so that you're most efficient with it, but also so that your challengers, who are, by the way, potentially future coaches, don't get overwhelmed and don't think, oh, I could never do what she does. Because if you're checking in all day, people are thinking that you have to be on all day. And when I was working full time, I could not check in to my challenge groups and play on Facebook when I was at work. So I would say establish a good habit for yourself with that. Pick a time of day that works for you and do it consistently. I like to go to bed with an empty inbox when that number is 0. After having a long list of a very full inbox, I'm a happy person because I know that I've done my job of continuing conversations and answering questions and helping people. And then I track my connections. And here's what I track, exactly what I track. Some people have these very elaborate tracking systems and things that they track. These 2 things work for me. People who accept my friend requests and people I am talking to. So people I have an actual conversation going with, whether it's through Messenger, Facebook, or in person, no matter what the conversation is about, if it's related to coaching or challenge groups or just where they are in their life, it doesn't matter. I just want to know who I'm talking to, because then when I go to that name, I can reassess when I get there. That will be different for other coaches, but those 2 things work for me. So weekly, I listen to the National Wake Up Call. You guys, I think that one huge thing about this business is that you need to be an ever learner. Personal development, obviously, right? Read or listen to something that's good for your heart and good for your mind and good for business or good for spiritual growth, whatever it is. But also get on that National Wake Up Call, either at the time that it is recording. I tend to always listen to it later. I listen to the podcast, and I like doing it when I'm driving. That's easy for me. So that's a non-negotiable weekly task. I host my own team call. I check in with coaches that are on my team. I do team recognition, usually on Thursdays. And I prepare for next week's group by whatever group is coming up by scheduling the posts. You'll also note that I have parentheses around some of the things, and I have a little asterisk down at the bottom. And I would say if you're a brand new coach, don't worry about those things right now, but just have them on your list so that someday you grow into that and you know that you should do that for your team or for wherever you are in your business. And then monthly, these are the things that I run. I run a free clean eating group. I run a regular challenge group. based on the people that I'm helping that have purchased a challenge pack. I also run a coach opportunity group. Some people call it a sneak peek. I run a new coach training for my coaches, my team, and I tend to do 1 to 2 extra small projects a month. Like calls like this, when Brigitte asked me, I knew that this was going to be one of my February projects. And sometimes, other examples are I'm really starting to develop my like page right now. So really taking time to learn and grow and taking more content and information specifically toward like page or developing a freemium. Those are just some thoughts. And then I'm on the main market council. So I tend to have little things that I have to do every month. So basically, you guys, what I have here shows you what I do every day, no matter what. And then I also know what's expected of myself every week and then within the entirety of the month. So, I can definitely share the breakdown with this wherever. I think I can actually post the whole slides into the Forward Fitness page, I think, or I can ask Brigitte to do that. But yeah, you guys can definitely have this or screenshot it too. Screenshot it because it's a pretty background. And I'm going to, okay, awesome. So how long does it take me to get everything on my list done when I'm laser focused? I would say right now, currently in my business, I work about an hour and a half during nap time. And that is where I'm literally typing out a post and I'm messaging like crazy. So I spend probably an hour to an hour and a half creating content for my pages as well as messaging people. That's where I do my best reach outs, my best invites. And so that takes place then. And then I probably work 2 to 3 hours at night. So I think that it probably breaks down to about 4 to 5 hours a day, but it's really spread out throughout the day. And there are days that I'm tapping out after like a half hour of checking into my challenge group at night. So you make it work for you. But I would say that if you can spend 45 minutes maybe just talking to people, that is where the true traction from this business comes from. You can do a whole bunch of other stuff, but unless you're talking to people, your business won't move forward. So that's where I like to spend the majority of my time. And I do try to do 10 to 15 reach outs and new conversations going every day. So I'm spending a lot more time there because I want my business to grow faster than what it was doing when I was doing 3 to 4 reach outs a day. Don't overwhelm yourself. Remember, be aware of where you are in your business and just know what you want to come down the line and, a general timeline for what you want for it to mean for you and to create for you. So here's my calendar. So I found this. I just Googled calendar and it gave like a really great site popped up. I think it was just printable calendars where you could type right in the calendar. Oh, such a time saver. And I'm all about time savers too. So I have here basically everything that I wrote on the previous page is here. And I'll show you that. So in the first weekend or the weekend that brings you to the beginning of the month, I am advertising for my challenge group. What I do is I create an advertisement for an event on my like page, my Cheers to a Fit Life like page. And then I also talk about it on my personal page. I then share it from my like page to my personal page after I've already done just a general Jillian style post about it. I like getting the emotional side of it presented to my people before I come up with an exact event. Not everybody uses events, and what I would say is if you do create an event and you invite people to it, you are very specific of who you are inviting to it. It takes me about an hour to an hour and a half to go through and invite people because I only invite people that I talk to. Or I invite people that I have a comfort level with just reaching out and saying, and using that as a reach out opportunity and saying, hey, I don't know if you saw my challenge group invite, but I always like to follow it up with a personal message. I don't know if you have any goals, but if you do, I would love to have you. That's literally kind of a snippet of what I say to people. So I don't mass invite, and I really suggest that you don't because that turns people off. Like, how many invites do you get to things? I suggest that you invite people that you've invited before, or you've talked to about fitness before, or people that you feel would receive your message of, hey, I was just thinking of you. Don't know if you have any goals, but I would love to have you in my group. Those are the 3 groups that I personally invite to an event to. And then I'm like a crazy person having conversations with people during those first 2 weeks. You'll see on March 14th, I have here, my challenge group preseason starts. Because what I do is I start my challenge group the 3rd Monday of the month, no matter what. It makes it so easy for me. I don't care what holidays are falling. I don't care what's going on. I don't care what I have going on in my life. That's a non-negotiable for me because it gives me an end date to invite people to. And that takes so much stress off your plate. If you just know when you're running your groups, you know when to invite the next people to them. So I would suggest that. So switching gears from the challenge groups, if you check out my green dots, I run a free clean eating group, and I run that the last week of every month. My thought process behind that is that, sorry, pregnant, trying to get comfortable. My thought process behind that is that I can serve people in that last week, and I'm very focused on their needs because my challenge group is already up and running. I already have established a good relationship with those people. So now it's time for me to either serve my lifers who tend to be in my free clean eating group with me and show up every month, or the brand new people that I'm bringing to my group. So you'll see that I always advertise for my free clean eating group the Wednesday before the week that it starts. I do that on my life page and my personal page as well. I also, let's see, what are some other things? Okay, so the pink dot is when I'm advertising for my coach sneak peek. If I have people in my free cleaning group every month as repeats to use the same content each month, I have about 3 different clean eating templates that I use. And some of them are so good that they're like, well, I know you're going to talk about water tomorrow, so I'm just going to post how many ounces. And like, they love it. They don't care. It's just a great reminder for them. I do like to mix it up every few months. Brigida has amazing clean eating content in Forward Fitness. And as always, I just encourage you to take the resources that you have and make them your own, put your own spin on them, but understand that in my team files, in Missy's team files, Brigida's team files, we have content there. So if you can get inspiration from something that we've already done, oh heavens, like I don't mean to speak for Missy and Brigida, but they have been pretty forthcoming with please help yourself and make it sound like you. And just be respectful if you do take someone's information to give them credit for it. But, I think that like I said, my lifers, they love knowing what's coming. It kind of gives them like an oomph, especially as new people join the group. They kind of feel like, oh, look at me. I've been here for a couple months. So then I always advertise for my coach sneak peek toward the end of the month too. So my mindset is to always have things to invite people to and to just keep it mindless for me. If I know when I have to get stuff done by, I'm going to get it done by. And that comes from the mindfulness, as I mentioned before. So you're all welcome. You can create your month that looks exactly like mine or make tweaks and changes. But this is for you. This is for you to have as well. Okay, next slide. So these are the organizational tools that I personally use, and I'm not going to go into detail about each and every one because I know for a fact that there are so many other resources out there about each of these things, and they can go into a lot more detail than what I'm going to do and should do because I wanted to get all of this content to you. I personally use Hootsuite Scheduler. I know a lot of people use Postcron. I use these for my challenge groups for the main content of the day. I am an authentic poster to my personal page and to my like page in terms of the content that I create. I don't like to be cookie cutter about those things. But for the main group posts that I have, the templates that I have, I do schedule them through Hootsuite. And then I also go in and I respond to my own post later in the day. So people know that this is not just a machine that they're working through now. It's a person, but that gives people content. I schedule it for like 5:30 in the morning so people can see it when they wake up. So people know what it is they should be thinking about during that day, but they also know that I'm going to show up for them and for myself later at night when I'm doing my nightly check-in. I use Asana to keep track of my people. Like I mentioned earlier, I keep track of those two people who have accepted my friend requests and anyone that I'm having conversations with. I do use the like page scheduler. I don't know if some of you call it a business page or a fitness page or whatever. I refer to it mostly as like page. You can schedule things from your phone or you can schedule things from your computer and have it pop up as if you were authentically doing it in that moment throughout the day. Huge time saver tip right here. If you are working or if you can't really get to a computer or your phone very often throughout the day, when you get a free moment, write out whatever post you're feeling at the moment and just schedule it for later. I can't tell you, there are so many times when I was working at work, that's what I would do on my lunch break. I would create some content so that like when I got in my car at 5 o'clock, I wouldn't have to sit there and think, oh my gosh, what am I going to post now? I already had it, copy, paste, send. Doesn't matter if you wrote it 4 hours ago, doesn't matter if you wrote it a day ago. You have something that you can that always comes from your heart, and you can post it whenever you want. Actually, when I went to Utah this past weekend on the plane, because there's only so many things you can do on the plane, right? I created 4 different posts of just what I would probably be experiencing that weekend. I wrote them out as if I was experiencing them in that moment. So when that moment did come, I had something to copy, paste, and post. If you saw the post that I posted about Missy and I, finally being reconnected again, I wrote that 2 days prior. So you can do things like that, you guys, because it's only you. You are your own brand. You have a sense of what you might experience. And if you do, and if it works, then you have something already. You don't have to take time from life's moments to say, hey, hold that thought. Let me just make a post really quick. I mean, we do that all the time. So if you can limit that, then that's awesome. I also use a physical calendar. It's on the floor next to me. I like having, like what I've created for you, I have on a calendar. So I always write down, even though I know it's the 3rd Monday of every month, I always write down when my challenge group is starting. I always write down when I need to start posting and advertising for things. And I write down like play dates with my son. I write down doctor's appointments. Everything goes there because this business is incorporated into my life just as those events are. So they're on my calendar. And then for personal development and goals, I use a notebook. I like getting my pen to paper when it comes to really personal, emotional, spiritual things that I want to make sure that I am keeping at the forefront of my mind as well. So I think this is one of the last slides. Opportunity mindset. Earlier we talked about having a business mindset. And I know that, with this business, we do think in terms of things that we have to sacrifice. And I always say, like, sleep was my first thing. But here's the thing when you talk about sacrifice. It scares people. It makes you feel like you have to give up something that you really want for something that you don't want. I don't think this business is like that. And for me, I wanted to focus on the opportunity. So when I was working full time and maybe wasn't sleeping so much, I didn't look at that as a sacrifice. I looked at it as what needed to be done so that I could leave my job and I could get home with my son. And I think that no matter where you are on the road of this business, you have the opportunity. You can look at it as, oh, I have to give that up. Or like, heck yes, I'm going to do whatever it takes to achieve my goals because I'm worth it. And so is my son, and so is my husband, and so is my the vacations that we're going to get to go on, and so is paying off debt. So I would just encourage you to have an opportunity mindset. Stop looking at life. Stop looking at this business as if it's a burden or as if it's I have to do that. No. Do you realize how amazing this is? Like, this is the coolest opportunity ever. So start treating it like that. And when you shift your focus from things that you have to give up to things that you're going to get, oh my heavens, does it make it so much more enjoyable? So I would say just love it. Look at the opportunity and love it. Remember, there's no right or wrong way to do this. You don't even have to have the goal of quitting your job. I have had a couple coaches that look at me. My 2-year-old might bust in here, just be forewarned. I have coaches that look at me and say, but Jill, I don't want to leave my job. And so they feel like they can't work this business to their full extent. And I'm so glad that somebody brought that up to me once because I was like, oh gosh, like that was my goal. That was my goal. So I was talking in terms of that should be the only goal. No, maybe you don't want to. But I would say this, I dare you to grow this to the point that you always have a choice with how you want to live your life. So don't go about this as if, well, Jillian did it this way, so I should do it that way. No, do what works for you, but always show up. That's what's important. And create your non-negotiables and schedule them. Schedule when you're going to do them every single day. Like I said, I sit down at lunchtime when Cameron goes to sleep and I do my invites. No matter what. I do a post and I do my invites. And I get those done before I do anything else. That is my non-negotiable time that I'm going to do it. So I would encourage you to pick that time during the day where you're either going to bust out a power hour or where you're going to create a slideshow like this, or you're going to get your workout done. Whatever it is, schedule it. And then work with passion, manifest what you have and what you want, and believe that it's coming from you. Because I swear, hard work is one thing, but when you love what you do and you believe in what you do, there is no limit to what you can do for this. And it's something that we have to remind ourselves every day, you guys. You think in this business we grow and we get all these, we achieve new ranks and we get all these cool accolades, but it doesn't matter, because every single day you have to reassess and you have to do a self-check and make sure that you believe in what you're doing, no matter where you are in your business. And then I always tell my coaches, yes, you can. Of course you can. I tell my challengers that. Of course you can do that. You can. So that's one of my mantras that I say to myself, like, yes, you can. Of course you can do that. Just believe it. That's what it comes down to. Because if you believe in you, the rest of us do. And there's plenty of content and information that you can go out there to learn more. But you have to have that mindset of belief. Organize your day, organize your week, organize your month, and just know that when you show up for those times, it's worth it, because that's what you are doing when you're putting out there what you want. It's going to be returned to you, but you have to show up for it. So now I can take questions, or Brigitte, I don't know if you want to, how you want to facilitate that, but if people want to type in questions, I'm happy to answer them, or I can answer them. Anyone can feel free to shoot me a message as well. Did I answer everything? Questions are great, Brigitte says. So bring them on, ladies and gents. So Kelly asked where to find an assistant. There are some, I'm personally going to be looking into a virtual assistant. I know that, I can't think of Elance. I think a lot of people use Elance. And Elance, is that right? I think a lot of people use that as a site. And Shalene Johnson actually does a lot of podcasts about where to find assistants. So that's where you can look. But also, maybe you have friends, or maybe you have family that don't want to do this business but need a side income and would love to support you somehow. So take a peek there. Oh, Melissa, you're so sweet. Thank you so much. Yay, I'm so glad. I hope this content was meaningful. It's so good to have specific, tangible, actionable takeaways. I obviously don't need one yet, but it's good to know for the future. How do you build your like page? I learned some discouraging info about like pages from jab, 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 right hook. Okay, so I loved jab, 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 right hook because it kind of opened my eyes to some things that I could tweak. What I would say is if you're feeling frustrated with any sort of information that you get, close it, walk away from it, but then reassess it later on. How can you make tweaks? How can you, but then where do you not have to make tweaks? What I thought about jab, 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 right hook is it taught you a lot of what not to do. And some of it I was like, why? So you have to make sure you feel good about what you're doing in your heart. One thing I personally found was I was getting way too wordy in my jabs. And that in itself, it was helpful for me from that book. So I would say there's a lot of information circulating out there about like pages versus personal pages. I use both, and I use both pretty balanced and evenly because I see the opportunity in both. Do what works for you. I would say take any information that you ever get with a grain of salt and apply it to your life. I know that there are a couple top coaches that have created amazing content about life pages. Janelle Summers is just, she gave a talk at Summit about it last year. And she's actually got a call that she did for Brigida a few months back. That go back and watch that. I really like her. I like her style. I like following her. So I would say those are the two good places to start. I do boost my posts, and I do pay for ads. I don't have the science of that nailed down yet, but basically, and I was glad to read in Jab, 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 Right Hook that when you have a post that's doing well, put a little bit more into it because it will continue to do well. And then when it stops doing well, stop paying for it because Facebook posts die, and that's okay. That's the evolution of Facebook. That's the evolution of just social media in general today. So I do that. I have boosted my whole page before, and I've boosted specific posts. I think that there's probably a good balance in doing both of those. I tend to think that boosting posts and targeting a specific market is more effective in terms of attracting the actual people that you would be friends with. So yeah, that's what I do with that. Do I boost free groups or challenge groups? I do both of those, especially my free groups. It sounds kind of backwards, like you would boost the challenge group ones, but here's the thing, you guys. You're so cute, Kelly. Here's the thing, you guys. This is a value-added business. People need to trust you. They need you to understand them. And for me, just where I am in this business right now, I don't have any people that like say, yes, Jillian, I want to pay for a challenge pack and get sometimes, but like it usually takes those first couple interactions to really get to know people. And to be perfectly honest, that's what I love about what we do, is getting to know people from the beginning and helping them all the way through their journey. So I do boost my free clean eating group advertisements, and that tends to go really well because then I've got that whole time that I'm advertising and that week to add nothing but value and love into their lives and to give them some tangible takeaway, good information for their health. Whether they join my next challenge group or one down the road or never do, at least I know that I positively impacted them at that time in their lives. Hopefully that answers all the questions. But like I said, you can ask Missy. She and I are always going back and forth on, good strategies for our like pages. Have I ever let other mompreneurs in your group? Oops, sorry, my computer screen went black. I accidentally got an It Works in my free group. Yes, so that has happened to me a couple times. I've never had somebody kind of sneak into my groups, if you will, but I go to the pages of the people that will be added into my groups, and it's pretty obvious if they are part of another, MLM organization or whatever. And if it's a competing one, like It Works or, other things, I say to them straight up, I say, listen, I see that you're a part of that other organization. Go girl for going after your mompreneur dreams. But please understand that this group is something that I use for my Beachbody business. And I will ask you not to post anything related to your company or your products. And I've never had anybody balk at that. People are very respectful when you put it up right or up front. I have a coach friend who has a disclaimer right in her about section of her free group saying, if you post about another company's products, you'll be kicked out of this group. And I actually thought that was brilliant, and I'm glad that you posted that here because I want to go back and do that as well. I would just address it. I'm an honest person, and I'm a person that would rather have an upfront discussion and just set expectations so that I don't have to reel around and have an uncomfortable conversation further on down the line. That's no fun for anybody. And honestly, if people are not respectful or unkind or rude, then I don't have time for them anyway, because there are other people in this world that need my service and will be kind and will want to be there for true purposes, not just to steal stuff. So I've never put down another company, and I never will, but I just stand up for what I believe in with my business. Any more questions? That was a really good question, actually. Okay, I think that's it. If you guys do have other questions, though, you know, especially about like specifically what I do, I am so happy to share whatever. I'm an open book. I will let you know exactly what I do. I think that's important. And, you know, I'm actually very excited about this next step with my business because I've been at the point for a while where I've known that my time is better served in certain areas as opposed to all the stuff that I do. So I am excited about, you know, figuring out how to get someone to help me with those things that anybody can do. And so I can focus on the things that just I can do. Because let's be honest, if anyone has ever had a child before, you know, it can get a little crazy. So, Instagram tips. I'm not a pro at Instagram. Yeah, I was going to say actually there was a national wake up call. That was a national wake up call a couple weeks ago. Instagram, I'm on it, but don't use it to its full potential. And I'm kind of in my like page season right now. So I'm starting to personally pull back from other areas and just focus on growing my like page. I know, I could talk all day. So Brigitte, I'm going to let you get back on.
Thank you, Jillian. If you want to go ahead and hit stop broadcasting, perfect. Thank you guys all for getting on this call. This call was recorded, so I'll go ahead and post that recording by tonight in the team page. But thank you so much for getting on this call, Jillian. So much content, so much amazing advice for everybody, and it's just kind of cool to see what you're doing in your business to grow and get that inside view. So thank you so much, and we will see you guys in the team page. Thanks for getting on.